Welcome to LifePoint TV. This is Pastor Del Phillips, your host for LifePoint today, your path to real life. Well, we started a new series, study series, dealing with the divine order of life, the divine order of life, and we are using just one verse, one single verse from the sixth chapter of the book of Matthew, and I want to review that again. Verse 10 reads like this: Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. As we established in our introduction to this study series, it's this single statement can be lifted out as a base principle that we'll find consistent throughout Scripture. That God's expectation in the earth is to establish His rule and His will. His rule and His will equate to divine order in life. So we have order. We have order. Let me say it again. We have order when God's rule is in place and His will is being observed. When we are surrendered to God's authority and we are pursuing His will for our life, it will establish divine order. So we understand that God gives us life, and our purpose in this study series is to understand that not only does He give us life, but He also gives us the base pattern and design that goes along with life to teach us and to show us how life is supposed to work. So we should be following His design, His plan, His order. Well, our starting point is understanding the necessity for God's authority, His rule over every dimension of my life. His rule is going to make me subject to pursuing God's will for my life. That's the starting place. So life has a design. Life has a pattern. In other words, there is a divine order to make life work. You and I need to um, observe or surrender, make ourselves subject to that divine order. Order is important. Listen to this. Order is important because uh, in the absence of order, we are left with chaos. Let me say that one more time. In the absence of order, specifically God's divine order, we are left with chaos. One quick scriptural illustration to help embellish or to expand on this point. In the book of beginnings, we always love going back to the book of beginnings because it's in the book of beginnings that we establish first order for many things in life. Here is one example. It says in Genesis chapter 1 that in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. So the in the beginning, the condition that is described there in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 and 2 is the absence of order. It says that darkness covered the face of the earth, and the earth was, watch this, without form, and it was void. The the reference to being without form describes that it did not have, watch this, formal order. It did not have form. No form, no formula. No formula, no flow of life. The earth was without form and it was also void. The absence of structure, the absence of order. There was no ordinance that was overruling the earth in that moment. So then it says, and the Spirit of God, as you continue to read, that the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the earth. And then we begin to see um, uh, piece by piece, portion by portion, we begin to see the recovery or the restoration of order in a world of chaos. And we see in the first movement of that, there's the division, separation of light from darkness. In chaos, there's only the observance of darkness. But when order is introduced, when God's Spirit comes to over to overshadow anything that's in chaos, we'll see the separation where we bring light out of the darkness. Here's the teaching point for us in this segment. God's order, once it's established in our life, it will begin to create separation, separating those things that are not of God, those things that are darkness from those things that are of God, the things that are in the light. I want you to understand that without order, we are left with chaos. So it is to our benefit to understand that God doesn't just give us life and then, okay, I hope you can work this out on your own. But God also gives us his pattern and design for how to make life work. This is Pastor Dale Phillips encouraging you to stay on a path that leads to real